How are you?
I'm really well. You've caught me from work, but I'm buzzing because I've been looking forward to helping and being one of the people that builds on your website to support students. Um, Legal exchange, absolutely love your initiative.
Oh,
Well
thank
done.
you. I love yours, and I can't wait to share what you do with others because it's just an incredible idea. We'll start with a bit of an introduction. So, please tell us a bit more about you, Christine.
Um, I've always had a passion for education.
Hmm.
Um, I came from a family where it wasn't important to educate girls.
Okay.
Boys, yes, not girls.
Mm.
So I've spent a lifetime educating myself, and one of my prime things in life was to support my daughter in her education. So I've come through years and years of my daughter's education and being a support for her. And it's from that base really that I think I can really speak from an onlooker's point of view of how stressful you can see it is for your loved ones,
Mm.
and you can't, they've taken on the studies, you can't do it for them, you just need to be there to support. And you really do see the struggles and things. You know, people think, oh, it's a student's life. No, the student's life's not that not that brilliant. You know, I used to leave my daughter in her room at Manchester,
Mm-hmm.
and you've the student, you've got to motivate yourself, you've got to be pushing yourself all the time, you've got to be looking for opportunities, you've got to be while you're doing your work, you're being asked to say what is your dissertation on, and all these things are coming in at you. And sometimes I think um, our generation hasn't prepared the next generation for all that pressure at once.
Totally agree, totally. I love the idea about the app that Christine has made, and today we'll talk a bit more about the application. It's on a website which Christine will tell us how to get to, etc., through this recording. Um, so, Christine, tell us, what is Mind Health?
My mind health is I came up with the idea that every website out there collects data,
Mm.
and you have to log in, register, and nothing's actually private to a person. There's always someone could get in there and have a look at what you've put, what you've done. And it came to me that I've always journaled. It's really helped me. It's helped my daughter. We've always lived by lists. We have a list of lists. So we're always used to writing things down. If we've got a problem, we write it out till the solution comes. And I looked and I thought, where is there for someone to write down how they truly feel, how the frustrations, yeah, understanding why they feel like they do. You know, where have they got where's private, a private space where they can go, write everything out, and there's no fear of anybody seeing it? Nowhere. There was
No.
nowhere. And my daughter said, Mom, people are happy writing on Facebook.
Yeah.
People are happy writing on Word. And I thought, but it's not private. And whatever you put on Facebook comes back to bite you.
Mm.
You can't vent your frustrations and then 2 or 3 hours later feel good about it and move on, because then you've got a recording of somebody saying, oh, you know, you had an outburst or whatever. Well, sometimes you do have to have a wobble
Yeah.
to dust yourself down, get up and start again. You don't want that on a going global. You know,
You don't
it's
want it to go
private.
viral.
It's private. You need a cup of tea, a little bit of time to yourself, and then you're ready to go again.
Yeah.
And I thought, where is that? And there wasn't anywhere. And I asked round, and I asked developers, how can you build a website and code it so it doesn't save anything?
Okay.
blank. Everybody I asked went blank. What are you talking about? Everybody records everything. No, I want something different, opposite to what anybody else has got. I want a safe space for anybody to go to and write as much as they want, all unlimited, write as much as they want, and then have the pleasure of pressing delete.
And it goes.
And it goes. When you press that delete, there is no record of what you've put. It's unrecoverable. But it took a lot to find developers who give it some thought, because they've not been asked before.
Yeah.
So in a world where we've got everything, we found something that wasn't there.
Yeah, and you created it.
And created it, literally just created it. It started in October 2017. I was researching student stress, and I was absolutely mortified at the lack of figures with student suicides. And what figures were collected were so far out from reality and the truth. I got hooked in more and more and more, drawn into studying student distress and depression, and I thought there's got to be somewhere students can go and turn to and have a safe space. And that is the idea I got in 2017. And this last New Year's, between Christmas and New Year, my daughter and her partner, we always sit down and say, what would we like to achieve in the coming year? And straight away I said, I'd love to get that website done. I'd love somebody to help me build it. And my daughter looked at her partner and said, Richard, if we don't build this website, she is never going to stop. So I said, really? She said, yes, we'll help you put it together. And so that's how it happened. That's how it happened. I've had the idea for 2 years last October, but I couldn't get it to market because I didn't have anybody to help me.
Yeah.
And I'm not a whiz kid on technology. I'm learning, but I'm not a whiz kid. And yeah, and they said, right, what do you want? And it just poured out. A simple page, a clean page, a box where nothing's recorded. I'd even got the sentences that's on the website. I was so, for 2 years I wanted to get it out of me and onto the website, and so it all come together, and we finished it on 7:00 on Mother's Day, on the 22nd of March this year. Mother's Day. And 2 days later, we had lockdown. So I didn't know it was going to fall at a time when it was going to be even more critical than what I thought it was critical anyway for the students. But the students that were struggling before the lockdown are struggling even more with the lockdown. So it's come at a time when it couldn't have been a better timing to help people. Couldn't have been better timing. Sorry for going on.
Oh my God, please don't be. Please, never
It's
be.
so exciting to get it to market.
It's very exciting, and I love the site. I've used it from a personal basis. I would definitely recommend using it. It's so easy to use, and it's really nice because I say to Christine after using it, when I journal, I think about journal, because I like to look back at my journal and be, oh, on this day this happened. So my journal is it's not my raw thoughts. I try to obviously keep raw thoughts, but I think about what I'm writing because I want to look back. But this is incredible because I can just write whatever I was feeling on that day. I wrote it down. And what was great was I don't have to look back. I don't have to look back, and it's amazing. So thank you so much for developing it.
I love your expression of raw thought. I'd never thought of it like that before, but it is. It can be just whatever comes to your mind. You can just type it and delete it and let the universe take care of it.
Yeah, exactly that. Amazing.
Love that expression. Love that.
You can use it wherever you want.
Thank you. I love it. I absolutely love it. I will write that down afterwards if I remember.
There we go. We've touched upon why you wanted to start it, but what was that one thing that uh, you know, what really pushed you to start the site?
My mind health. It was student stress.
Student stress.
It was definitely student stress. I I I really don't know how parents cope when they lose a son or daughter, when that son or daughter goes to university. I really, really, my heart goes out to them because I don't think I would be able to cope. And I can cope with most things that's been thrown at me in life.
Yeah.
But that is something so you bring your children up, you love them to bits, you try and give them the best start in life. They go off to university, and before you know where you are, they're in trouble. Not everyone, but there's a large percentage now that have, you know, anxiety and stress used to be on odd occasions. It can be on a daily occasion now. It can be fluctuating. It you know, and it can, even the most strong people can have a really down day,
Mm.
and they need to be able to express that. So that for me is, yeah, I sometimes feared losing my daughter, and I thought my daughter, I just encouraged her to do education all the time because I thought it was the answer. Because when you've got a good education, you've got choices. When you've got choices, you can live a better life. And so I wanted that for my daughter. And she did the education. She went to Durham University. She went to Manchester Business School. And then she went into a bank in London, into the city. And they were brilliant. And they said, "We've got a budget. What would you like to do?"
Yeah.
And she'd moved into London, where you've got peer group pressure, you've got the travelling on the tube in the morning and at night, as it was then. She would work all day, come home and work all night on her studies. She did SEMA, and she did it in 3.5 years and working. And after 2 years, that person that I'd got all my heart for, I saw burnout. And the last person on the planet I would have wanted that to happen to is the nearest and dearest. Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to happen to anybody, but when it actually happens to your own, you look and you cannot believe, you think, have I done this? Have I pushed the education so much? What have I done? What have I done? And as a parent, you ask yourself, what have I done? And that was heartbreaking, and that was in 2012. And so that to me is that is my base for everything I do to reduce stress for students, because I've seen it, I've lived it, and my daughter's come out the other side, but not without anxieties in certain areas. And that was all caused by too much, just society's too much expectation from society. Yeah. You've got to fulfill this, you've got to be in a job, working till 7 at night, and then stop the job and then do the learning, and there was no respite. No respite. And when you've seen that happen, you think, when health and education collide, then there's trouble. It needs to balance, but balance is so hard to do, because you get carried away with, got to hand this in, got to hand that project in, got to do that by Tuesday, got to do this at work, got to do and it was just far too much to ask one person. And I think if anything else with COVID, it started to make people look at self-care.
Yeah.
And before COVID, we didn't look at self-care.
No.
We just didn't. And it was very detrimental to people's health.
Mm.
So I'm coming from looking at all ways I can possibly do to reduce stress for students.
Mm.
I'm trying my hardest. In June, I took a brave decision in June because I wanted to help the students so much. I decided to challenge myself to, over a 90-day period of time, to put a post on every weekday evening to help reduce stress for students. And it started on the 24th of June.
Yeah.
And I haven't run out of subjects yet to help.
Yes.
So I've been posting every weekday night since the 24th of June.
Yeah.
And I think it totals around 45 posts to cover 90 days. And I'm on about 28, 29 tonight.
Amazing. And that's on LinkedIn, right?
That's on LinkedIn, and it's purely to reduce stress for students.
Yeah. And I've read them and I can definitely agree they've really helped me. They're so helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And my final one, being a law student is super, super stressful. You know, it doesn't, I mean, being a student on its own is very stressful, but law is a very competitive industry. The deadlines for, you know, jobs for law firms start in,
Unforgiving. They're
yeah,
unforgiving, aren't they?
they are
Unforgiving.
forgiving. They start in the second year of university. So you
Mm.
don't even get to enjoy your university life. You have this pressure.
Yes.
You know, at second year, some of your friends start getting jobs. You're still looking for jobs. So, you know, it comes with a lot of pressure. What would you say? You know, what tips would you give students who are in this battle to just, you know,
And it is a battle. You're
yeah,
absolutely right. It's a battle. And when I walked in this evening, I picked up my pen and I thought, what that last question of yours is, what tips would you give law students in particular, right? At a stressful time. And I picked my pen up, got my cup of tea, walked in from work, got my cup of tea, and jotted some notes down. So if you would like, I'll go through these.
yeah,
And because I thought, what advice would I give students? Don't stress when you don't know everything. Because I need to know everything. The reason you're doing the course is because you don't know everything.
yeah,
And a nice way to look at it is people don't expect you to know everything. But a nice way to look at it is think about layers. You can't know everything at once. So think of your learning as layers. And what you're going to do is you're going to build a layer at a time.
okay.
So don't expect to know everything straight away up here. You're going to build a layer at a time and you're going to take it in. And so that when you do get up here,
Mm-hmm.
you've done it slowly and you've soaked up that knowledge. Yeah, so you're building your knowledge and your confidence and trying not to stress at the same time while you're doing it. And really important is break things down into bite-sized chunks. It's so important to try and do that so you don't get overwhelmed, because you look at it and you think, I've got all this, and it's too much for anybody. Even in the work environment, when you've got a pile of files, it's too much. Take the files off your desk and pick one up at a time.
Mm.
Concentrate on that. Oh, this is good. And you get a bit of confidence each time you've got a bit more done. Yeah? Instead of beating yourself up all the time. So bite-sized chunks is really important. Can't eat the elephant all at once. So bite-sized chunks. I think what a lot of students do and what wastes a lot of energy is feeling guilty at yourself. You can get very drained by beating yourself up and feeling guilty. So get a plan. And this is what me and my daughter used to do. She'd say, would you help me, Mum? We would sit down and make a plan. And every day there'd be little slots of time for chill out.
Yeah.
In between things. You know, if it was only going for a shower, and your brain could then take in what it had been learning over the last 2 hours. So just little simple, so that this, when you have some time off, like a 30-minute walk, or, you know, just some families come round and you have half an hour with them, you don't go back to your desk and beat yourself up that you've just had half an hour, you should have read that book. Yeah, well, that was my chill time, I'm going to work now.
Yeah. And
so you're separating, you're having a little bit of separation from nagging yourself, which we all do. No, I should have got that done by now. Yeah. So if you can do a plan, and we always used to put Nicola's chill out time in yellow. Yeah. So everything else was set out, and then we'd put chill out time in yellow.
Amazing.
And then it takes away the guilt.
Mm.
And it doesn't sap your energy.
Yeah.
You feel relieved and that you've had some time off, and then you're like raring to go to get back to it.
Mm.
So I think that's a really, if you like, you could call it self-care now. Yeah, because people are used to that expression, and it is actually a self-care thing. It's keeping you balanced.
Mm.
Yeah. So do something that will stop you feeling guilty. Mm-hmm. and draining your energy. And then on going for a job, or I if ever I've been for interviews, I like to sit down when I get back, and I'm back to writing again. I make a list. What could have gone better?
Okay.
Oh, when I said that and talked about that, if I'd have mentioned such and such, they'd have known I was interested in this.
Mm.
I'll remember that next time. So you're building layers of self-analysing for it to come out better next time.
Yeah.
If I'm going for an interview, I literally research like nothing on earth. So if you're going for a company, research that company, whatever it is about that company, have a look at their history. Because if you can say to somebody on an interview, I found such and such really interesting, they're like, well, we didn't know that, and we work here.
Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter went for an interview at an airport with the finance director, and after the interview, he said, who do you know at the airport? My daughter said, I don't know anyone. He went, no, you've told me information that my team don't tell me. Who do you know? And she said, I don't know anybody. I don't know anyone here. And even the recruiter said, the finance director is still convinced you know somebody. So she did a research so good, and there was internal applicants for that job, and she was an external applicant. So it works to do your research. And it really does work. There is no substitute for doing your research and then that person thinking, wow, they've really taken an interest in this company. Yeah. Well, with law firms, you obviously you need to know all the areas that they work in. Have a look at what their strengths and weaknesses are. Every company has a strength and a weakness. Have a look at the weakness and say, if it was me looking at it, I'd do this with this. Yeah. How impressive do you think they're going to be with that? Yeah. If you can point out that actually there's some work that could be done there, they're like, whoa, whoa, we could do with this
Because,
person. We could
yeah,
do with this person on board. You know, are these things that are sounding what you could use yourselves?
mm,
Yourself? Do you think students will relate to that?
yeah, definitely. I've shared it on my Instagram, but I like to use this thing called a SWOT analysis. So it's your
Yes,
strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and tracking what's out there. And I
yes,
use that for my commercial awareness because that's a key skill for
yes,
job applications. And sometimes I do a SWOT analysis on myself as well. Just figure out what are my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats in my life, and how can I optimize my chances of success in the next
yes,
3 to 5 years.
yes, yeah, yeah, brilliant. It's looking at yourself.
Yeah,
And the other thing is look at yourself and not other people.
yeah,
Because there's a little saying, comparison is the thief of joy.
yes,
So look at yourself and what your strengths are and what you can take to the table, because that's what's important.
exactly. Oh my god, I love that. That it was so perfect, and I think so needed. Some of those things, I think sometimes we even know it, but it's so hard to do, especially the element of telling yourself, don't compare yourself, when things, like, I think social media sometimes as well, we'll be looking at someone's, you know, got so and so job, or someone's got a first class degree, but we only know that part of their success. We don't know how
Yeah,
they got to it. We don't know how many years they worked to be there. It's
yeah,
almost like an iceberg theory. We only see the top, not the bottom
yeah,
layer.
yeah, yeah. The other one tip I have got, and I said it to my daughter when she was going in for an exam, and she come out and that exam she passed straight away, and I'd known, and she knew how much hard work she'd put in. She'd put the time in, the revision in. She'd done everything she could possibly do. And then what happened is nerves started to take over.
Mhm.
I can't do this. It's not going to go well for me. And we sat down, and I just said, for goodness sake, go and park those nerves at one side. Have a word with yourself and just say, I'm going to park you nerves, because I just need to do this first, and part the nerves out of the way. Because what she was doing is getting herself so tight, her brain couldn't think straight.
Mm.
So go and park the nerves, like get out of your own way. Because when you've done all that work and all that revision, it's all in there. You just need to give it a chance to come out.
Yeah,
But your nerves get in the way. So go and park the nerves and say, I'll come back to you later. But right now, I'm just going to do some deep breathing, just going to relax, and I'm just going to let whatever I've got in my head come out on that paper.
yeah,
Trust yourself, because when you know you've put the time and the hard work and the effort in, it's in there, and there's only yourself stopping it coming out by letting them nerves take over. I know it's a lot harder to do than it is to say, but
mm,
if you can just use it as a friend and say, look, I'm just going to have to park you at one side for a minute while I go and get this exam done,
mm,
and then I'll come back to you.
yeah,
It makes such a difference, because you're actually controlling then. Instead of your nerves controlling you,
mhm,
you're controlling you, and it's much better for you.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can relate to that, but my daughter walked in and did it, and it was, I think she was shocked. She was shocked. She was actually shocked at how everything just flowed.
Those,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So worth a try. All these little things are worth a try. They won't work for everyone.
No,
Different things will work for different people. Everything's worth a little try.
yeah. And you've given us so much to try, so much to think of. I love it. How can people find My Mind app? Wait, is it just a website? Tell us how to find it.
Well, at the moment, it's a website.
Okay.
I would my goal is to build an app,
Mhm.
so it's on everybody's phone in the pocket when they're traveling or anything. They can carry it around, they can get it out if they've only 3 minutes waiting for somebody to meet them. They can do any. So my goal is to have an app,
Yeah.
but at the moment it's a website, and you just type in Google www.mymindhealth,
Okay.
and it will spring up. Feel it, write it, delete it. And it's as simple as that. You just write whatever you're feeling and press delete.
Perfect.
It's a space, it's a space that you can write whatever you want. There's no judgment, no comeback, and you feel better and you go on with your day.
Great, thank you. I'm sure my followers will love that. I will put a link to find the website on the
Thank,
comments. It's really easy to find. But thank you so much for your time today, Christine.
thank you. I just everybody's mind health deserves attention. So if they can just give themselves 5 minutes a day, they'll notice a difference in 2 weeks. Thank you. And thank you for being such a wonderful host and letting me talk on a little bit.
Oh no, I love a
when,
chat.
when you're excited about something, you can't stop. Thank you. Thank you
No,
so much.
of course
And
not.
good luck with legal exchange.
Thank
I'm sure it's going to just grow and grow and grow.
you.
Well done. Well done.